everybody. Good evening. Welcome to Africa Thrive Live. I saw some of you on YouTube were here like 10, 15 minutes ago. My name is Naomi Kirungu, one of your hosts today, and I'm so glad you guys made time to have this conversation with us. And I am based here in Nairobi, Kenya.
Hello, everyone, and hi, Naomi. My name is Irene, and I'm based in South Africa. I'm really excited about this show tonight. It's bound to be exciting, and as we can tell from all the excitement on all the social media networks, that's what we want you to do. We want you to get online, tell us where you're watching from. If you're on LinkedIn, tell us you're on LinkedIn. Introduce yourself, introduce your business. If your friends don't have this link, share it with them. If you're on Facebook, you need to be starting a watch party, please, if you can. Introduce yourself, tell us where you're watching from. You never know, you might connect with somebody on the socials. Naomi.
Yeah. So hi Vanoba Samson. Hi back at you. We have Wusa. I see Emmanuel Cheriot from Eldoret. Welcome back. Juve, I hope I pronounced your name right. I think you're joining us from Rwanda. We have Tolulupe. Mario from Angola. Have we had someone from Angola, Irene?
No,
Probably
this is
not.
the first.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Mario, I think you're our first viewer who's told us you're from Angola. So welcome everyone. If it's your first time here, feel it's gonna be a really impactful hour for you. So get your notebook, get ready. I'm really excited about this conversation today. You know, Irene, this is my favorite time of the month when we host Africa Thrive Live every single month. I remember last month we hosted Esther Mushemi. In case you missed that, subscribe to our YouTube channel and then go and look for Fireside Chat with Esther Mushemi. It was amazing. She's an author. She's a multi-millionaire businesswoman who started from a small shop, one small shop in Nairobi, CBD, and now she owns a group of companies that span different industries. So that was a really, really insightful conversation around starting small but thinking big and how to grow your business. So really excited to be here once again, Irene.
Yeah, there were a lot of interesting lessons from that particular talk. I just thought about the fact that Esther was talking a lot about her team and how that's enabled her to continue building her business and invest in more businesses. So it was, for me, that was one of the takeaways. And of course, investing in yourself as a person, remembering when to take that time off. And talking about time off, hey, it's celebration time in South Africa. We're celebrating
Yay!
Heritage Day tomorrow. Very excited. So I must say, I must confess that we had a break last week as a company. We all got a day, an afternoon off. Not, I'm very ambitious here. We all got an afternoon off, which was really awesome. So again, in South Africa, we get to celebrate and actually have a whole day off. So if, in case you don't know what Heritage Day celebrates or what we're celebrating when we talk about Heritage Day, we basically celebrate diversity. We celebrate the different cultures, the wealth and the beauty of those cultures. So if you're South African, happy Heritage Day in advance.
Yeah.
So many people that have joined us, and it's amazing. It's bound to get great.
Yeah, we were just doing small talk, guys, as you guys introduce yourself. So if you want a shout out, type quickly. Now we are starting to read them. Let me see. Let's see from guys on LinkedIn. I see Maria Nyaga from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome, Maria. Pascal, I think you've joined us before from DRC, Congo. We have Lucienne from Senegal. We have Gudisa from watching us on LinkedIn from Ethiopia. Welcome, Gudisa. We have Noel from Nigeria of Flutterwave. Shout out to Flutterwave. You'll get to hear about them really soon. Tom, that's our boss man, Mr. Tom. Maybe one day you guys will meet him. Maybe. We have Ambassador G. Mo from Facebook, from Nigeria. He's a photographer. We have Diana from Nairobi. What do you do, Diana? I don't know. We have Wusa from Lagos, Nigeria. He's into agri products from Ghana to Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome. We have Henry, as he says, from the 254. I like that. 254 is Kenya. 254, the 254 is Kenya. We have Paul from Ghana. And we have Emma as well joining us on LinkedIn. And I won't give you a clue who that is. Yeah. But anyway, I see more comments coming. Please keep them tuned. Willie from Uganda, you guys are so welcome. We have such an amazing show lined up for you. So much content and so much value that you will get, we hope, for you to grow your business and take it to the next level. Yeah. Back to you, Irene.
Yeah, and talking about helping you grow your business, something that we believe in and we're passionate about is working with ambitious businesses across Africa. And in case you're wondering, okay, what does that actually mean? We believe that we believe that our continent can actually have skilled workers, right? And we believe those skilled workers lends to what we call really ethical businesses. And when we have ethical businesses, we're talking about businesses that are thriving and they're able to employ people. And that's why we exist. That's the whole notion of why we exist, to empower you as an entrepreneur to continue creating more jobs. We know that's the only way that we're going to make the Africa of our dreams come to pass, right? And in that same light, we were thinking about entrepreneurs and we're always thinking, how can we make your lives better? How can we support you better? So this is something exciting. I know we're all thinking about the fourth quarter and we're thinking about all the stress of the year and we still have uncertainty, how many more waves to go. And there's so much that as business people, we keep, battling and hitting our heads around. So if you're wondering what's next, how can you navigate and how can you strengthen your people as you look at finishing the year strong? So we have an incredible program. We've been talking about it the whole year. But the most exciting thing about this particular program is the fact that there's actually impact. And when I talk about impact, I talk about 91% of the businesses that we've had on this program have reported that they've grown even stronger, whether you're talking about their revenue, their people, they've been able to navigate the challenges of the pandemic. So sign up for Survive to Thrive. The link will be posted shortly. It's a full scholarship program, so there's no excuse. So look out for eligibility criteria. If your company meets the criteria, you will be on the program and you'll be joining hundreds and hundreds. We've had over 600 participants so far on the program, so you can't be left out. What an opportunity to navigate and also learn from other entrepreneurs from across Africa. On the same light, and because we believe that capacity building is not the only way that can help entrepreneurs to navigate the uncertainties of every day as you run a business, we also believe in networking. We also believe in community. A huge thing and a huge reason behind what we do, even with this particular platform, is to bring people together from different facets of life, all brought together by the love for entrepreneurship and becoming better business people. So join our Thrive community, learn, network, join other ambitious businesses. We totally love the word ambitious because we believe everybody that we're working with is aiming to take their business to the next level. So join up, and we were just talking about this program today, not a program, but the community. We've got about 20,000 entrepreneurs on that particular platform. So how great is that? So whether you're in West Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, there's bound to be opportunities for networking. Naomi, I feel like I've spoken such a mouthful and we're yet to get into the program.
Yeah, so let's dive into it. Let's get into our topic for today. And when we were thinking about this topic, I think it's such a timely discussion because Irene, now more than ever, a lot of people are purchasing online. Those myths around a few years back. I know it sounds like a long time ago, but just a few years back, people used to be very skeptical about doing purchases online. And I think because of the digital transformation that we have been going through over the past few years, that myth has been debunked, and a lot of people are going online to make purchases of things like groceries, your clothes, anything that you can think of, cars, anything you can think of. People are going and they're buying online. But I think for SMEs now, bringing it into context, an aspect that a lot of SMEs are still grappling with is this idea of how to receive payments from customers, particularly when dealing with retail customers. So you think because the digital economy we are in has made us one small village where if I am in Kenya, for example, and if I'm a business here, someone from Uganda or neighboring Tanzania and Rwanda order my goods, how do I get it to them? How do I collect money from them? Particularly, how do you deal with those currency issues and all that? What platform do you use? Those are the things SMEs are grappling with as we all really embrace e-commerce. So that's why in this month's session and today we decided to partner with Flutterwave. So in case you've not heard of Flutterwave, earlier this year, Flutterwave, which is a Nigerian-founded payment company, reached unicorn status. So unicorn status means they were valued at over $1 billion. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of zeros.
Yeah, a lot of zeros.
Yeah, one big reason why they got such a valuation is because they are making it easier for entrepreneurs to accept payments from customers, not just from Africa but from across the world. So that's who we are going to be talking today, and also due to public demand, and because of the nature of his business, and this, he will be sort of like a perfect example, and he is a Flutterwave customer. We're going to have Ayrton Bett back. Ayrton is the co-founder of Purpink. We call him Bett. And Purpink is an online retail business. If you're in East Africa, I'm sure you've heard of Purpink before. And he started his business leveraged on e-commerce from over 10 years back. So he has lots of experience, and they've sort of built their business on the e-commerce platform. So we are going to have him back. He's joining us today. So in case you really like him and you're like, oh, I want to go back and listen to a previous episode, you'll find him on our YouTube channel. His previous a few months back. So that's our conversation today. So let me just introduce our guests, and without further ado, we're going to help me thrivers, as we call ourselves. Help me welcome Munya Chiura, who's going to represent Flutterwave today as their head of growth, and also Bett from Purpink. Welcome, guys.
Wow, Naomi, Irene, thank you very much. Bett, thank you for being a Flutterwave customer. No pressure, huh?
Yeah, so welcome, guys. And so that we get you comfortable, before we get into the really, really hard questions, I'm sure we have some hard questions. The audience could have some as well. Maybe you could tell us, let's start with you, Munya. What are you currently reading?
Okay, so I typically love to read The Economist magazine, and I've got a couple of books I love. There was a great book called The Ambitious Growth Curve, and so always interested in seeing what we can do about ensuring that we can look at the growth trajectory of businesses. So enjoying that quite much, yeah.
Okay, cool. The Economist. I'm sure you're a smart guy. We'll just get our notes and be ready. And how about you, Bett? Maybe I should ask you a different question. If you would be a superhero, yeah, or if you had superhero ability, which one would you choose and why?
The options.
Just pick
am
one.
I given a
just one. The one that first came to mind.
I feel like Bett feels like he's not going to be loyal to one if he says the other. It's
okay. I like Batman.
Batman.
Okay.
His superpower is money, so that works out well for him.
His superpower is money.
Yes.
Ah, cool. I won't ask why. I won't ask why. You're an entrepreneur, you're a businessman. We will not ask why. The why is pretty obvious. Let's start with you, Munya. How about you introduce yourself? I know I introduced a bit of Flutterwave, but please introduce yourself. Who's Munya? Introduce yourself to us, the Thrivers.
Sure. Again, glad to be on this amazing show to all the Thrivers. I understand there are 35,000 Thrivers out there, so welcome. Hope you enjoy our time together. So I'm Munya. I support our business development across Africa. And for some context on Flutterwave, we are a Pan-African payments infrastructure company. And I know, Naomi, you talked about being Nigeria focused, but really for us, we support about 400,000 businesses across Africa, across the globe. And, for us, this is an exciting time in terms of growth to be able to support businesses and entrepreneurs really across Africa and across the globe that are looking to scale their businesses. And so I spend 90% of my time working with customers and working to see how we can support them grow their businesses.
Great. Bett, let's go to you. Tell us, for those who might not have seen your episode before, who's Bett, and tell us a bit about Purpink.
So, Ayrton Bett, stated the co-founder of Purpink Gifts. Purpink Gifts is an online flower delivery and gifting service. We operate currently mainly within Kenya, but are delivering all over the world through our partners. At Purpink, what we do is we tend to think of ourselves as emotion in motion. Essentially, what we do is we help people express emotions to their loved ones in better ways. If you wanted to think of you wanting to congratulate someone, or you want to tell someone you love them, sending just a text is not enough in this day and age. So what do you have to do? You have to send it with a gift item, and that's where Purpink comes in. So in a nutshell, we are a gifting service. We help people share emotions. Thank you.
Wow. What a lovely way of putting it. Emotion in motion. That's really beautiful. I love how you've encapsulated what you do. So I just want to put it out there that this is not a paid partnership at all with Flutterwave or Purpink. What I want to establish is the fact that we're both passionate about the same thing as AMI. We're passionate about working with ambitious businesses, and that's the same vision that Flutterwave shares. We want to work with as many entrepreneurs. We want to ease trading for entrepreneurs. We actually want to help them have a seamless process between as capacitating you, somebody like Bett being able to do the trade, and having a partner like Flutterwave come in and help you effortlessly, if possible, to trade with your customers. So that's where we all sync everybody here on this platform tonight. All right, so Munya, somebody listening to this conversation is probably wondering, so how does it actually work? There's so many misconceptions and things that we want to debunk about e-commerce, but how does your platform actually work? How do you actually help SMEs grow?
Thanks, Ayrton. So maybe I'll break it down into three specific kind of products that we support, and we've got a multiple array of products as Flutterwave. The key is for us is how do we support businesses like who want to expand across the continent. So you're working in Kenya now, you want to expand your business and really look at it from a global perspective. So we have Flutterwave for Business, and the core of Flutterwave for Business is how can you accept payments anywhere across the world. One of the challenges, which is why we exist as Flutterwave, is that there are so many disparate payment systems, payment methods, currencies across the globe, and even within Africa, that make it really challenging for businesses to transact. And so what we've done is created a one common API infrastructure that supports businesses like Bett to be able to really transact and then collect payments across the world. So that's Flutterwave for Business. What we're also excited about was in April 2020, again, because of COVID, we introduced a product called Flutterwave for Business. And this actually came as a direct result of product-led growth, which is that our customers came to us and said, look, COVID has hit. I've got a brick and mortar business. How do I survive in this kind of world? And when we think about how COVID has transformed the way we actually live and do business, this was a direct result of that thought process. And so we rolled out Flutterwave stores, and really Flutterwave for stores is a simple way for an entrepreneur or business to set up an e-commerce storefront. No code required, no expertise really to be able to set up the store. You can go on 5 minutes, load your goods and services online and start to transact. And this has been for us a remarkable product because we have over 35,000 businesses across Africa that are using Flutterwave stores. But really for us, and I just sort of want to preface why that's important is that, and in the context of our conversation, is that COVID has changed how we look at doing business. And Flutterwave stores is just one of those products that really allows e-commerce and for people to be able to do business really within their own country, but really across borders. And then we've also got a product called Barter, which is a P2P product. So if Naomi wants to send money to Irene, you're in Kenya and you're in South Africa, it's just a real easy way to be able to support the ability to do sort of, P2B transactions. So that's really our portfolio. We're always constantly looking at new products. We rolled out Flutterwave Grow, which allows businesses to really register across the world in the US and UK. A lot of African businesses are looking to scale. So we've got Flutterwave Grow, we've got Softpod. So we've got a whole different slew of services really geared towards how do we support businesses that want to be able to scale.
Yeah, I love that description. I love how you put everything into perspective. And I'm just thinking from a customer perspective, I know there's a lot of objections why, and pre-COVID, a lot of them could pass, but I think we've come to a point where sometimes, and in fact, most times we're forced to trade online. So how have you guys, in your own way, managed to build, first of all, confidence with the SMEs that you're working with, and also that same confidence extending it to the customers that they get to work with? So like a Bett, for instance, how does he extend the same confidence he has in your platform to the consumers that he works with?
Fantastic. I would love Bett to answer that question since he's had that experience. But for us, I think we're 100% focused on the customer. And I think this is not just for Bett, but even for the audience here, is that at the end of the day, what allows Bett to be successful and all the entrepreneurs who are trying to solve a really challenging environment and growing a business, because we all know it's not easy, right? Is that at the end of the day, are we solving a customer problem? I think entrepreneurs were born out of how do we solve a problem that's complex or something that just absolutely annoys you, right? When you look at Flutterwave, our founder, GB, was really about, it's just hard to, transact across Africa and across the globe. What do we do around that, right? So I think for us, that's key, is the fundamental foundation of how do you ensure that you're solving a real pain point that customers have. And that's what the 475 entrepreneurs, the waivers within Flutterwave, do on a day-to-day basis.
Great. Bet you do have that question we're going to ask, but we're going to pick it up a bit later. Now, take me back to your business, Bett. Like for you, you were really an early adopter when it comes to e-commerce. Yeah, now it's become a trendy thing. A lot of people are advertising online, selling online, but you got into this like 10 years ago when it was a big risk. What drove you, or what opportunities did you see that made you let me try this?
Well, at that point in time, it wasn't only the fact that e-commerce was a risk. It was the only option we had, because if you'd have told me to rent out a physical shop, I probably wouldn't have been able to afford the deposits. Come to think of it, we did try to rent out a shopping mall, and at that point in time, they said we were too young, so they sent me back and told me to come with bank statements. After that, the bank statements checked out. Then they sent me back and told me to come back with my parents instead, which I did. But it didn't work out that well. So for most of us who joined e-commerce at that point in time, and I'm speaking for a lot of other stores that I know that are much bigger now, we joined as a way to sort of circumvent the needs to start a business, the what we call the entry level, the entry cost that was stated that before. You needed a shop, you needed this certification, you needed to advertise, you needed 3 months rent, 3 months deposit. So we joined then, and it was cheaper. And I think that's the essence of e-commerce. It's always been e-commerce was an innovation that made us circumvent the way you needed to start a whole big business with buildings and staff and a lot of other costs. of course, over the years, it's changed, and we've ended up doing a lot more in terms of sales. The market has caught on, and it's really grown, especially in our country. I still feel we're a bit of a far way. I still feel even right now, when you look at the e-commerce stores that are there in Africa, we would still all be taken as early adopters. I don't think we've reached the numbers, and the customers haven't reached the threshold to say that it's really at its biggest, but it's at a good place right now.
Yeah, that's quite nicely put. So, an entrepreneur, and I'm sure I always love putting myself in the shoes of entrepreneurs listening to us. And I'm so curious. So, if I'm an entrepreneur, I'm listening to this, and I'm ready to pivot my business or move my business to an e-commerce platform. What are the basics for you? What were the things that you were looking out for when you were looking for a platform that could host your business, or rather facilitate payments for you, Bett?
When we're looking for payments, okay, first of all, we ended up trying each and every platform by being by, I wouldn't say by mistake, but literally starting with one platform, going well with it, messing up, jumping to another one, and by the time we ended up on Flutterwave, there were a bit of problems, but we could break it down and get into them. Currently, the platforms that offer payments for e-commerce all have a similar sort of system of charging, and their percentages will not vary greatly. They'll probably, if it's Visa, they'll charge you 3.5%. If it's M-Pesa, they'll charge you probably the same, or 2%. But here's where the problem started coming up. At Purpink, we wanted to receive, we have a lot of diaspora customers, meaning, for example, if you probably are based in Kenya, but your boyfriend is based in Australia, is based in Dubai, all these people shop from Purpink with different currencies, different cards, buying for people locally. So when we started using, I won't name the payment provider, but yeah, I don't want to get Amy. I don't want to get African Management Institute
no paid
in trouble
ads
for now. But
it's not a paid partnership at all, so you don't have to name anybody.
But yeah, it's generally we're just talking about our personal experience. So here is what used to happen. We have a customer in Australia trying to pay through their card. They've gone through the whole checkout process. I mean, they've gone to the homepage, they've done all that, and then when they go and pay, the payment fails. It fails because our payment provider can't take in their currency. So we used to have a lot of that, and the pain you could feel, because of course you've seen the client has gone through and probably they're spending, and of course foreign customers will always spend a bit more than average. So you're seeing $100, $200 purchase, and it's failed, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that was one of the biggest problems we had. Now, to solve this problem, we decided to approach now a large foreign payment provider. They're based over in the States. They're really big. Of course, now what came with them was the rules and criteria they have are to support big companies and big structures, such that if something was not being done their way, and then I think COVID came and there were a bit of changes. And so what happens, and this is standard practice with even people like PayPal and everything, they closed our account. And when they closed our account, the money they had of ours, they were to keep it for 6 months. So that's standard payment practice, and I would like to really advise a lot of entrepreneurs to really avoid such types of payment processing companies, because they did everything. But another mess that we got into, for them to process multiple currencies, they used to change our money from the base currency, which is Kenya shillings, to USD at a very bad rate, so we could be able to accept payments for everyone over the world. So, and of course, also their charges were quite high. They were charging us 4.6%. So we were losing so much money just to try and make sure that all our transactions from everywhere would go through. So when you're looking for a payment provider, of course, you're looking at, can they process multiple currencies from abroad, if that's the type of customer you're going to have. Number two, how is the security? One of our customers had multiple chargebacks, and chargebacks is something people are going to learn about online payments. You can receive payments, then afterwards, if it's Visa or card fraud, you start seeing your money being deducted. And this can be very frustrating for a lot of people. because you think you've budgeted with that money, and all of a sudden Visa is saying, now look, this money is fraudulent, it was obtained, now you have to explain, and it could really get out. So chargeback, security, that's a really big deal. And lastly, what are their policies when you close their accounts? Are there people you can reach out to? Is there something? And also their systems. What is their downtime? A lot of the payment providers may pledge to really have very advanced system, but then 90% of the time, especially on maybe your peak sales day, I remember during our peak sales day, one of them was Valentine's, our payment provider just shut down. And I was like, we didn't shut down on 10, 11, 12, but 14th is where you have a system malfunction. Wow, great. So those are sort of the things people should look out to. And it's really sensitive because this is what drives your e-commerce business. It's part and
Yeah.
parcel of what gives the experience to customers.
Yeah, I really love that. And I want to just double tap a little bit before we bring Munya into the conversation. So the payment system is just one aspect of e-commerce, but let's just talk about just generally about an e-commerce platform. You know, what should entrepreneurs look out for? So I don't have one. I have a brick and mortar, and I need to move from having a shop because I don't have the same foot traffic anymore. So what do I need? Who do I need to be working with? What are those things that make it so much easier for customers to transact on my platform, other than just the payment that we've spoken about? What is that customer experience on your platform, for instance?
Well, for us, what we've really concentrated on is because for many people, and I think one strength of e-commerce a lot of people overlook, is how do you make sure the transactions are ongoing with minimal or no intervention, so without your intervention. So setting up things like an FAQ page, frequently asked questions, where some of our customers shop at time zones where we're not awake. How can I make sure they're really close? So when I wake up, the money is there and they've finished. And so FAQs, having a reviews page, because you see what happens is that what we do, we chart the customer's path. We think about ourselves as a customer, sit in front of a computer, think, type, okay, how does the person search? So obviously when you're searching, you're looking at your keywords. So you need, obviously everyone can't be able to do this. And the beauty about this, if we were speaking 1999 to 2003, you'd have to do all this manually. But the beauty about that is that systems are evolving, and now you don't even need to do a lot of this manual stuff. So for someone trying to go to e-commerce, look at an e-commerce company provider, someone who provides systems for e-commerce. We have Shopify, we have Magento, we have WordPress. Most of these guys will come with all these systems ready for you. And then from there, you can just set them up. And most of the things they'll give you is automatically a great homepage, a reviews option. And then from there, you look at the add to cart process. Fine, you've gotten all of us here. Now we want to buy. But you start clicking on the add to cart, there's a lot of process. No, you want something that we introduced and it was overlooked, but it was a big part of innovation. This came in, I think, 6 years back. We started calling it one-page checkout. So one-page checkout is where everything you need to check out is just on one page. Slowly, it was on Magento earlier, Shopify took over, everyone is now doing it. So you don't want the customer to keep checking out and you're sending them forms and forms of information so they get tired. So the beauty about anyone entering e-commerce is that the barrier to entry is constantly being lowered. I know companies that were considered unicorns, just like Flutterwave, just on the value that they had a website. It's not going to be a big deal anymore. Anyone can get a website. WhatsApp is offering us business catalogs. Facebook is offering us business catalogs. So the beauty about it is just to make sure you have the core things that the customers need, which for us, we can break it down finally to reviews, great description and images, and finally just a seamless process in which they can check out. When you get more advanced now, you can add maybe delivery tracking, so that instead of them calling you every time and asking you, has my delivery left? You send them constant updates via email. That's now automated as well. So generally, that's what we've been looking at as well.
Great. Bett, and I think why we had you back, I think it's because you're very, very, how you give us really, really practical tips. And I think for anyone who's tuning in and you have an e-commerce platform, I think you've gotten a few tips that you could things to think about. And also if you're starting, I think one thing I've just picked up is maybe talk to Bett or another entrepreneur within your reach who's been through setting up, and I think that's a good place to start, so that you're not making the same mistakes, and sort of leapfrogging some of those mistakes. So I really appreciate how candid you are. And for the audience, please write your questions either to Bett if you have questions, or Munya will get them answered. So keep those coming. So Munya, I want to bring you in, and Bett sort of alluded to it. So for sure, we know that the future of business is e-commerce. We know that. But at the same time, there are challenges. Bett has mentioned some of them. We know that, especially in this era we are in now, there are a lot of, I don't know if I should call them trust issues, things around data protection, privacy, where is my information being used, how safe is my card that I am using, where my money is kept, all those things around privacy and protection, over and above the SME part, in terms of the things that Bett talked about. So Munya, from your perspective, sort of from like an industry perspective, how are you addressing the concerns of these two people? One, the customer, the end user, the one making the purchase and having those issues of privacy and trust, and also from the entrepreneur perspective, and Bett has alluded to some of those challenges. Some of them could be things that he talked about, downtime, all those things around customer support and all that. So please address those two.
Sure. I thought I'd just add a little bit to what Bett mentioned, which I think is important, especially for entrepreneurs, is that we are in an era where you don't have to do it all, right? I mean, ultimately, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to make some decisions on what's my core business and what are the things that are not core to me that I can outsource, right? And so, we're integrated into the Shopify's, Magentas, and so forth, right? Because ultimately, the idea is for an entrepreneur not to have to worry about that. So for me, I think it's critical to start thinking about what are the processes you can automate, and Bett mentioned that, and then what are the processes that I can outsource. If they're not core to my business, I don't need to do that. And what we found as Flutterwave is we support a ton of businesses that have come to us and said, look, payments is not our goal. Our goal, you think about Uber, right? When you jump into Uber, right, wherever you are in the world, the first thing that comes to your mind is not, oh, how am I going to pay for this? In fact, I had a personal experience in Nairobi where I jumped into an Uber and I totally forgot about the whole payment experience until I got that notification that let me rate my driver, right? So what Uber has done, and Uber is a customer of ours, is really thought through the process that our core as Uber is to make sure that our customers have a delightful experience, whether you're buying Uber Eats or whether you're an Uber ride. And so I think for me, it's really around, as an entrepreneur, what can you do that you can automate or outsource that's not core to your business? And then your questions are very valid. And I think that when you look at where the industry is going, and I have to be very, very honest with everybody, is that we are moving so quickly, right? And so that's the reason why us as Flutterwave exists. We've got high security standards, for example, PCI, DCS, which is the highest security standards for cards. The reality is that there are people who spend their lives trying to hack systems. And we've seen this time and time again, right? Within globally where data is stolen, where data is compromised. And so that requires an even greater emphasis on companies like Flutterwave who have like the robust systems in place to ensure that we are protecting customers' data, but we also ensuring that that data is safe. And a very specific example is that we've got something called tokenization. And basically, the way to think about tokenization is that there are instances where customers don't want to necessarily provide their card details. And so we've got a way to tokenize that information so it's secure and it's safe for people to transact. And so I think we are in an era where it's critical, especially for entrepreneurs, when they're looking for systems to support the scaling of their businesses, to ensure that is the company, do they have the highest security standards? Are they PCI DSS compliant? How do they handle the data privacy? You're absolutely right. That's critical. What are the privacy policies? How do you handle that data, especially as you're expanding across the globe? Does that data reside in a specific place? So when you are engaging with payment services providers like ourselves, we are very clear and ensure that we can support customers who are looking at those critical issues. The other important thing to think about is that Africa is very unique, right? When you think about an entrepreneur, is that today I could be in one business, tomorrow I may be in another, right? I may not have a physical address. I mean, and this is the interesting thing about e-commerce, is that you may have somebody who doesn't even have a physical address, but still wants to participate in the ecosystem, right? And so what our job, and it continues to be part of our mandate, is how do we support those businesses that are looking to deliver, and we've got integrations with last mile providers so that you can track that package. But I think we're in a very exciting time in terms of Africa, because these kind of questions have never been solved before, and we're working with customers and working with partners around the world and across Africa, so we can really drive this amazing opportunity within e-commerce. But yeah, security is key. It's absolutely one of those things that is core to our business.
Bett, I want to loop you in. So you've talked a lot about the SME perspective in terms of when you're starting and what the challenges you have. What challenges are you experiencing with your customers when it comes to payment? I don't want to assume that it is data or all these privacy problems. And how are you addressing them? Bett, can you hear me? Okay, so as we try and get back, Bett, I think we've lost his audio. Please write your questions on the comments. Let us know any particular question that you have. I see. Bett, are you able to hear me now?
Sorry about that. Some of the do you want us to speak on the challenges we're having in? Yes, I can hear you. You can hear me?
Yes, we can. So I'd like you to talk about challenges from the buyer perspective. What sort of challenges are they going through, and what are you doing to solve those challenges? I just don't want to presume that it is data and protection issues that you're having. Okay, so I think we lost Bett. He seems to have poor connection. We'll get him back. Irene, don't know if you want to loop in Munya on the question around the industry.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah. So I love the points that you brought up, Munya. Something that I want to delve into is the fact that we're seeing consumers becoming more savvy. There's more innovation, and that really excites me in the African context. There's so much that's happening. But what have you seen as some of the things that stand out for you for?
Okay,
I think we just lost Irene.
And we just lost Irene. Munya, it might just be me and you on this show, but we are going to have fun. Bett, we have you back. My question was around what challenges are customers facing, or what sort of what are the things you're hearing, and what are you doing to solve those problems?
I don't think we can hear Bett.
So some of the challenges that we are currently facing are specifically. You can hear me? Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Some of the challenges we are facing are specifically on the payments. Some of the challenges we're facing are specifically on the payments when it comes to, unfortunately, at the moment, I think most customers are transitioning into getting used to full e-commerce without being assisted. So you'd find a customer who will go through the website process, see a product, see that the product is available, and then call us and ask us, this product, is it available? We look at it, yes, it's obviously not showing sold out. You tell them, yes, it's available, you can order. Like, fine, let me order. So it's like they still need a bit of nudging through the transactional process. So we are realizing that we need to make our customer service a bit more engaging, probably move ahead, check on people slowly as we build them. But the beauty is, once they finish their first transaction, customers now get used to doing things much better. Another trend that we're realizing is that pre-COVID, majority of our customers were aged between 23 and 35. That was pre-COVID. But after COVID, we got the whole group. During COVID, we got the whole 35 to 55 to 60, all shopping online. And this group is a very interesting group because, one, when they got in, they had the biggest issues completing transactions. They'd always call deliveries. We'd always get a lot of questions. But after they finish their transactions, the beauty about them is that they sort of stick to what they know. So now we're finding ourselves changing our products, changing even the way we do things to better them. Because if this guy has been shopping from one menu, he'll continue with that menu. He won't change it. If he's been buying flowers from this, he'll always come there. So the burden is on us to make sure we always have a variety and a change of products to make sure this customer is completely entertained. So that's a new form of customer we got. Slowly, the older ages are getting into e-commerce, and they need better customer service and better trust, because them not being early adopters, it means that any slight mess will make them dump your platform for as long. And they have very good memories. 23 to 33 don't really have good memories. They'll complain about a product on social media. Like, say, I'm canceling you, I'm never coming back. 3 days later, they're back, they've forgotten. Age 35 and above, don't forget. You do this. In fact, some of our clients, we get talks and they're like, you remember last year, I'm that client you messed up, but I've still come back. They'll remember a customer interaction they had last year and use that as a way to move forward. And they will put that in terms of word of mouth. So the different age groups have different ways of dealing with them. But generally, what we're trying to do is improve our customer service and see how we can improve their experience through the website process. Yeah.
Yeah, Munya, I'm sorry, but I really love listening to you, because one thing that I'm getting, other than the fact that you've already categorized us, so Naomi and I are not going to say which age group we belong to. Other than that, I love the way that you've actually learned who your customers are. You learned their behavior, and that really shows in how you run your business, because that way you're able to address their pain points, because you walk through the journey with them, and you know exactly which age group, what kind of profile you need to be meeting, and what at what level. So that's really brilliant. Something that I want to ask you while we're just talking about business and how you customize your offering based on your customer profile. How do you believe that you're doing business differently now as opposed to when you started? What are those things, if there's like 2 things that stand out for you when you think about how you run your business now?
Wow. A lot has changed. For start, one, and I feel that maybe every entrepreneur might like to take that course of thinking, but it's something we do internally. When we started, we were concentrating on sales. So we were like, how many sales are we making a day? How many customers are we reaching? Are we making 10K? Are we making 100,000? Are we reaching many customers? That changed completely. Especially, and that was affected a few years back. We started realizing, okay, you can make all the sales, but during trying to service all the sales, hurt 90% of the customers, make so many messes, have not many people coming back. So what did we start concentrating on? We started concentrating on efficiency, in terms of, we're not looking at sales. How many orders have we delivered? And in those orders we've delivered, how many complaints have we got? And how many clients are sure going to come back? So this helped us because it helped drive our repeat customer rate to almost 50-something%, which just made it better for us, and made sure we are utilizing the basket of customers we've had all our 10 years. Consistently, they're coming back. So that's one of our biggest changes. We're not concentrating on sales. Not to say I'm not telling our guys, hey, don't hit your sales targets, but No, we're concentrating on efficiency, just completing the number of customers. And I feel a lot of big companies, be it big tech companies like Uber, and could learn from that, because everyone, and I think that's something about when you're invested in with big companies, everyone is pushing, how many users do you have? How many customers do you have? How many people, how many transactions are you doing? And we realized, especially for a country like ours, you're not going to push that number, but what can you do? So are we able to complete this customer transaction properly? Are we able to finish, do 100 customers and make sure every customer is left with such an above board experience? So efficiency for us is a big, big deal. It's even bigger than sales. The second thing I think is on our staff side. So for many entrepreneurs, when you're trying to scale your business, be it your e-commerce business, you have your staff. And remember, e-commerce is not a standard business practice. So you won't find schools that are training diploma or professor in e-commerce. No, not yet at least. So what we started realizing is that we need to train our staff more about e-commerce, and they need to gain a passion for it. Otherwise, you'll bring someone and they'll probably be very qualified on customer service, being answering calls, working for big companies, maybe working for TV companies and all that. And when they come to an e-commerce setup where they have to do a live chat, they're completely confused and off, because they've been used to answering phone calls. And here you're dealing with a frustrated person on chat. And you know the way someone will type with so many exclamations. So it's a completely different outlook. So we're investing more in our staff in terms of training them, in terms of them getting into the e-commerce world and really trying to understand it more.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. I'm hearing a lot of quality over quantity, and I really love it. For some reason, my video keeps cutting off.
Yes, as we get Irene back, Munya, there's a question here from Banoba. So he's asking, watching on YouTube, may you please speak into how you have worked with customers who have integrated mobile money payments at the same time, transact with bank accounts, both local and foreign? I don't know if you're able to, you get the question?
Yeah. So from a Flutterwave perspective, it's critical to keep in mind that as you move across Africa, mobile money is core to how we transact, and our data has shown that a lot of customers actually move money between their bank accounts and their mobile wallet. I think M-Pesa is a classic example of that, and even for PayPal, we see consumers might receive their money in their PayPal wallet and they want to move it into their M-Pesa wallet. So from a Flutterwave perspective, it's important as we look at that ecosystem to ensure that they're all integrated. So when we do provide the services to our customers, they do have the ability from the one common API to tie their mobile wallets, bank accounts, any other payment options that are relevant in that country, all as part of one offering. So that's all part of the ecosystem.
Okay, great. And also, Munya, let's pick back from what Irina alluded to. So with all so there's so much innovation happening. There's increased competition. Customers, I feel, are becoming more savvy. As Bett said, that you just need to show them once and they get it. What do you think for your SMEs on your platform or with Flutterwave, those that are experiencing really high growth or having sort of success on your platforms? What are they doing right? What do they get right?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. I think I mentioned early on this whole idea of keeping the customer first. So I like to think about it like being in an ideal customer profile. And Bett mentioned this, is that there's a different ideal customer profile, even by demographics. And so one of the key things we've found is that the ability to look at your data and analytics, understand, and I love what Bett said again about this customer journey, which is that, and from our perspective, by the way, that if we have an unsuccessful transaction, that's not good for us or our customers, right? So ultimately, what is it that you need to do to get the customer from the point in which they hit the website to the time they're satisfied and they've had the goods delivered right to their home? So it's critical to think about that customer journey. Where are they dropping off? What time of the day are they ordering? all of that information can be extremely helpful. And what we've found is that people who are really analyzing that data on a micro level can really make informed decisions about their business. And by the way, this is not about processing billions of transactions. This is really about looking at your existing business today, and the analytics are there, the tools they're actually now available, and some of them are free, right? Where you can really analyze your business and see what you can do. So I think for us, ideal customer profile, personas again is critical in terms of looking at what that business looks like, what your customer looks like. So we've seen that to be core. Then I would also say that it's really important to tell your story. Entrepreneurs also are in a situation where they are users, we are users. Flutterwave has over 476 what we call waivers who all use our products, right? And that's an amazing opportunity to learn, not just as a customer, but also as a user. And we always tell our story. And I think it's critical even for entrepreneurs that we've seen is that the ones who tell their stories have really had the ability to really talk about what's happening on a global platform. So yeah, I think telling a story, ideal customer profile, and data analytics, and really looking at data would be for me the three key sort of takeaways of businesses we've seen that have really scaled well.
Yeah, so I really like that, Munya, and they sort of, what you're saying is almost like what Bett was telling us on the practical side. There's a question here from Duru. I'm just gonna ask it in the sense of how can people reach you or reach someone from Flutterwave, because they seem to be having they seem to be a client of yours. So what's the best way for people to have heard of Flutterwave? How do I plug in as a merchant?
Sure. So the easy way is just to go to hi@flutterwavego.com. Very easy email. We are 24/7, so there's always somebody who's going to take up that message and then route it to the appropriate person. I am on LinkedIn, so you can look up Munya Chiura, Flutterwave, you'll find me. I always respond to messages. So those are different ways. We are on Twitter @Flutterwave. That's another way to reach us. So or directly on the website.
Okay, so Duru, you've sort of gotten consent to DM Munya on LinkedIn. But there's a question I have for you. E-commerce is sort of, I don't know if we would call it like the silver bullet to solving a lot of revenue challenges. I'm not sure we would call it that. So what other, in terms of just growing revenue, and I know you said you're focusing on your customer, not just revenue, but of course, cash is king. And as a business, you want to make money, and probably COVID has disrupted a lot of things, and you are not really into e-commerce just as an example. What other activities can SMEs do to complement their efforts to sort of grow their revenues?
A great question. I think one is an audience and a platform like Thrive, right? Ultimately, it's the community. What you find, particularly in Africa and especially within sort of the e-commerce industry, is that the ability to communicate and really just share best practices, have mentors, have people who might have gone through the journey, is so priceless. I think it really helps us. And I think we're now in an environment where you can jump on a Zoom call or Google Hangout or even WhatsApp and have a call with anybody across the world. So we no longer have those boundaries that allow us, that limit us from being able to communicate to anyone across the world. So I think community is so critical. I think for us that's core to be able to really leverage best practices, get people who might have gone through that journey and share best practices. I think is key. The second aspect for me is really around partnerships. One of the things we always think about is that partnerships they can drive a lot of revenue, right? So whether it's channel partners, whether it's partnerships with other institutions that really complement your services, becomes important because you cannot do it alone. I mean, we're in an environment where the companies that are scaling so quickly are the ones that have really identified key partnerships that really allow you to just be able to accelerate your growth as a business. So I'd say those to me are critical.
Yeah.
Is just thinking about your community and what you can do, leveraging these great resources, and then making sure partnerships are key to your growth.
Okay, Bett, I don't know. Do you have anything to add? Bett, are you there? Do we lose you? Okay. So, Munya, I'm going to introduce a part of this show that we call rapid fire. So, rapid fire is you give us your answer in less than 5 words, and to do this, since we sort of lost Irene, I'm going to pull in Tom Icon and convinced him this is his first time to be on the show. So if we can pull up Ashley, he's been talking on Slack. That's Tom Wallace. Tom, you want to introduce yourself and take Munya through rapid fire?
All right. Munya, welcome to Rapid Fire. Hi to the Thrive community all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. Thanks, Naomi. It's just been a great show so far. I've been loving it. Oh, but they're putting us one-on-one here, Munya. Naomi's even left. So it's you and me. So I head up marketing and communications for AMI. I'm usually behind the scenes. Actually, don't have to do much because my team's just so awesome that the marketing communications team is so great. But it's fun to be here. So I'm going to first start by saying thank you for partnering on this episode of Africa Thrive Live as a partner, as a marketing partner. It's been great to have you on. We care so much about the same customer. We're out there helping ambitious businesses across Africa. But we all know, I saw Flutterwave in a great partnership with the BAL, the Basketball Africa League, NBA in Africa. Tell us why that is. And then, oh, there it is. Look at that. There's the hat. Let's talk a little basketball. Tell us about what that partnership is meant for Flutterwave and why it's so important and why the BAL is so important in Africa.
Yeah, thank you. This is also quite personal for me. I spent 20 years in the United States, and basketball was it's just always amazing to see the amazing players across the US, and you always say to yourself, why would this never happen in Africa? And I think for us, when the BAL launched on the continent, and I think a lot of us, not just in the US but even in Africa, have been following basketball. It's core to just our ability to have some other additional entertainment in addition to other sports. So for us, the BAL and what it stands for, which is African, Pan-African, the view of the BAL is to play games right across the continent. It launched this year. They started in Kigali, Rwanda in March. Was amazing, and there's a season 2 coming up where they've got a couple of other countries. So the BAL represents for us a key partnership from a Flutterwave perspective in terms of being a Pan-African brand and also supporting BAL, which is also a Pan-African brand. So it's really about driving, payments and partnerships really right across the continent. So really excited about that partnership.
That's great. Thanks, Munya. Yeah, as a former basketball player myself.
Yeah, I understand you're a fan. I said, I understand you're a fan.
I am a fan. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I actually played when I first moved to Kenya 8 years ago. I played in the Premier League here in the basketball league right away. It was just one of the best experiences that I ever had. So I'm a big fan of the BAL. Glad to see it here. But from an African Management Institute perspective, we see it also, in sports. For me, that's one of the best things about learning how to be a teammate or a coach or managing situations and how to work together. I think that across the board in Kenya, across Africa, the love of sports, the love of working together as a community or as a team, it's just embodies what it means to be ambitious as a company or as a group. So that's like a huge thing for us. So I'm glad we share that value. And I know a lot of the viewers do as well. You were talking about ideal customers. Tell us a little bit about Flutterwave's ideal customer and like what excites you about working across. You said 400,000 customers, but a lot of those customers percentage are in Africa. Tell me about the customers you've met and what makes the ideal customer across Africa so special.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Flutterwave started by supporting some of our large enterprise businesses. So I've mentioned the likes of Uber, as being one of our customers. So when you look at an ideal customer profile of a large global enterprise, it's really the seamless ability to be able to transact across the continent. I mean, 54 African countries, all of those countries have their nuances. Kenya has a very different payments ecosystem than South Africa or Rwanda or Uganda or Egypt. And when global businesses look across the continent, for us, the ideal customer profile is a business that's looking to expand their footprint across Africa in a really cost-effective way. So I would say that constitutes one ideal customer profile. Now, again, we support 400,000 businesses. So you also have an African business. Purpink is one where what we're trying to do is help them support growth, not just in Kenya, but really across multiple countries. So that would be an ideal customer profile. We have our SME merchants. It's a business that wants to get online and sell their products and services. That in itself is an ideal customer profile. We support, businesses in the remittance space who are trying to move money from globally into Africa, across Africa. That's an ideal customer profile. So for us, as we've scaled, it's critical to always keep in mind that what we're trying to do is solve a specific customer issue or problem that they're facing, a pain point, leveraging the infrastructure that Flutterwave has built over the past 5 years.
Okay, great. And what do we'll keep on the rapid fire. Naomi's reminding me that I've got to be rapid, not you. You're doing a great job. So tell me about where you've seen the growth for SMEs or small medium enterprises across Africa during the last year. Like, where do you think and where are things going for those businesses with Flutterwave? What can we expect?
Yeah, I think what you'll see over the past couple of months, we've already rolled out some interesting products, something called Flutterwave Grow, for example. Really excited about that. We've got card issuing, we've got stockpiles. So when you look at an SME, all of the different pain points that you can think about within the ecosystem, our key there is what can we do to continue to drive value for the customer so that they can really have one less thing to worry about, right? And so the example I'd like to give is around Flutterwave stores. So when you look at Flutterwave stores, we rolled out Flutterwave stores. You've got the e-commerce storefront. Our customers then came to us and said, well, what about last mile delivery? How do I get my goods and services right down to a specific location? And so we've got a couple of customers today where we've integrated last mile delivery directly into the whole payment journey so that you can track your payment, see where it is, and then know that it gets to your ultimate destination. So that continues to be the journey for us, is how do we build and continue to build value for our customers? That's
great. Thanks, Munya. One more question. What makes you most proud about your work? As far as getting up every day to work for Flutterwave, what's exciting? What makes you proud?
Yeah, for me, it's really the fact that this is happening in Africa. I think I mentioned that I spent quite a bit of time abroad, and I've been on the continent for 10 years. And it's just amazing to wake up every day and you're seeing businesses that are really solving really complex challenges across the continent. It's really exciting. And I think for us, we've barely scratched the surface in terms of what entrepreneurs and businesses are doing really across the globe. And indeed in Africa. So I think for me, that is really what motivates me, is seeing customers happy, seeing their growth. And I think when you look at entrepreneurs, one of the most challenging aspects is scaling, right? If you want to scale across the continent, it's super difficult. And I think for us, we're really excited about being able to support businesses that are looking to do that in a way that's more cost effective and efficient.
That's great. Thanks, Munya. Well, I think the fact that everybody's back means the rapid fire session is over. You have survived. I know you're probably a big ESPN fan, so there used to be a rapid fire session. You've gotten through it. You could hit a gong or something, and you've successfully made it. Naomi, how did I do?
You did well, Tom. Thank you, and thank you for joining us. Bett, are you there? Can you let's try and do my and your version of rapid fire, and we do it really. Remember, five words or less responses. Bett. Bett, first question. How would your, rather spontaneous question, how would your close friends describe you?
Wow. I know my close friends are watching this, so
Five words. 5 words or less.
5 words.
1 word, 5 words.
At times irrational.
Mm-hmm.
What?
What is,
Fast.
I'll take that. Okay. What is one skill
Loud.
or trait? Okay. What is one skill or trait you think every entrepreneur needs to have?
Accounting.
Cool. What are you most grateful for?
My team.
I'll ask that to everyone. Munya, what are you most grateful for? Five words or less. Tom, what are you most grateful for?
I'm grateful for my family.
Cool.
Definitely
Irene, what are
grateful
you
for my
most
family.
grateful for?
Good health.
Munya, I'll let you go. Munya, what are you most grateful for?
Family.
Great. I'm most grateful for this, just having this opportunity and this platform to impact in the small way I can entrepreneurs. I know that was more than 5 words. So I just want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you, Munya. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Bett, for taking time. And most importantly, I just want to thank our Thrive community and the people who joined us today. Remember, if you'd like to be an official member of Thrive, the link is on the screen or on your chat. So feel free to join. And like I said, Bett, maybe, and Munya, you could share details on how people can reach you. So let's start with you, Bett. How can people reach you?
Via LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter. We have Facebook. If you via LinkedIn, it's through my personal profile. Via Twitter, my personal profile. Facebook, it's through Purpink Gifts. Yes, and our website.
Great, and thank you, Bett. Munya, how can people reach you? You said Munya Chiura on LinkedIn.
Yes, or through Purpink.
But yeah, they can also reach you through Purpink or through AMI, I guess.
LinkedIn is good. Twitter, as I mentioned too. Hi at Flutterwave.com will always get to me too. So.
Great. And thank you so much, and thank you all for your comments and questions that keep coming. We do hope that this session was of much value, and I just want to officially wish, as we come to a close, the our South African audience a happy Heritage Day. Happy Heritage Day tomorrow, Irene. And until next time, we have been your hosts. Irene and Naomi, have a lovely evening. And Tom.
And Tom, of course. Yeah.
Don't forget me. Added in at the end. Thanks, guys. Did a great
sign
job.
out today.
Cool. See you guys. Take care.
Thanks to everybody. Bye.
Bye.